Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Snook with section 8.6, which is Law of Cosines. So Law of Cosines is another way to solve for missing sides and angles on a triangle. Again, it works for any triangle, so you do not need a right angle. And the types of triangles that this works best for would be if I give you three sides. So if you're given side, 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 or two sides and the included angle, side, angle, side. And just like Law of Sines has a bunch of different forms you can write it in, so does Law of Cosines. Here is probably the most common way to write it, which would be little c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cosine of angle c. Also, I want you to notice that this looks a lot like the Pythagorean theorem. In fact, if angle C was 90 degrees and you plugged in 90 for cosine of C, this term on the end would drop out and you would be left with just Pythagorean's theorem. So I think of Pythagorean's theorem as a special case of Law of Cosines. So if you're solving for little c, then you would write it in this form. You take the other two sides, a squared and b squared, add those together, and then you're going to subtract 2a times b and the cosine of c. So you would also need to know angle c. Let's say you're not looking for c. What if you're looking for a? Well, then you would write a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. Or if you're looking for b, you would say b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of b. The other thing I want to notice is, do you notice how the b that you're looking for and cosine b, so you're going to have a pair of side and the opposite angle. Same thing when you're using c's. We have c squared over here and cosine c over here. And it also works with a's. A over here, cosine a over there. So let's go ahead and solve some problems of this sort. So number one, we're given a side 7, another side 12, and an angle 65. So this is a side angle side. And because it's side angle side, I would use Law of Cosines. I'm going to go ahead and name these. Now, I only ever think of Law of Cosines with the c squared. So this, to me, is the only form of Law of Cosines I really need. A squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. What I'm going to do is, since I've given this angle, that has to be angle c. Then x is little c. And then 7 and 12, that's a and b, and it doesn't matter which order you put them in. So I could call 7a, or I could call 12a, either way. Now I'm going to plug into Law of Cosines, so x squared equals a squared, that's 7. I'm going to square that, plus b squared, 12. I'm going to square that, minus 2 times 7 times 12. Times the cosine of c, which is 65 degrees. So now all I have to do literally is plug this through my calculator. So I'm going to get x squared equals, so I'm doing 7 squared plus 12 squared, and I'm going to subtract 2 times 7 times 12 times the cosine of 65, and I got 122. And so now all I have to do is square root that. And I got x equals 11.0. I'm doing the 0.0 because I had to round. So that's how I would solve for that side length. Let's do another one. This time we're going to solve for an angle. And so in this kind of problem, I've been given all three sides. This is a side, side, side. and I'm just being asked to find this angle right there. So I like to use law of cosines, and I use just one form. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. So therefore, this x, that side is going to be C. So then the 7 is going to be little c. So here's little c. And then a and b, 11 and 12. So c squared, 7 squared, equals a squared, which is 11 squared, plus b squared, which is 12 squared, minus 2 times 11 times 12 times the cosine of x. That's what I'm looking for, x. So let's go ahead and work this out. So 7 squared is 49. 11 squared plus 12 squared. Just doing that on my calculator. I got 265. Minus 2 times 11 times 12. So 264 cosine x. Now what I need to do is I need to subtract 264 from both sides. Sorry, 265 from both sides. I get negative 216 equals negative 264 times the cosine of x. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 264. So that leaves me with cosine of x equals, I'm getting a big decimal. I get this one, 8181, and mine just keeps going. Now I'm going to do inverse cosine, because I'm looking for an angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press second cosine, and then I'm going to copy the answer that I got. So I do that by pressing second. And then if I press the negative key at the bottom of my calculator, that's going to copy in the answer. And that way I'm not rounding to the last possible moment. And I got 35.09680123 on my calculator. And I'm asked to round to the nearest tenth. So this is going to be a 35.1 degrees. So that's it for today's video, everyone. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.